3, 2, 1.
So, give it up. That's my talk title today. Give it up. Now, the phrase give it up has two meanings. One is to stop doing something or saying something or believing something, right? Obviously, give it up. Give up thinking this way. It's about perspective and action and thought. It's about releasing the unwanted thoughts or the undesired or the destructive dissemination of junk ideas. That's kind of a fancy way of saying it. Of thinking of have-not attitudes, having those have-not attitudes or ineffective platitudes or other decrepitudes. I like rhyming, of belief. I like that rhyming thing, huh? Give it up. Stop. Don't think about that way. Don't think that way anymore. It equals letting something go out of your life. Hate, anger, disappointment, derision, division. Some people. Yeah? You've gotten rid of a few people in your life now and again? Sometimes you have to. Yeah. It's not just for Lent. It's not just for Yom Kippur. It's not just for Ramadan or Ayam Iha. We give it up for our health and our well-being, our success, and the very existence of our future, or that of the planet, of our children or grandchildren, etc. Give it up means to stop thinking something because thinking it makes it so. I have a little poem I found called Thinking by Walter D. Wintle. No one knows much about Walter D. Wintle, but I know this poem has been used in some books. So have a listen. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster person, but sooner or later, the person who wins is the person who thinks they can. The second meaning of give it up is about giving recognition to or appreciation for something. You go to a concert, you go see a play, you even go to a movie for that matter, and you see a good performance or something that inspires you, then you give appreciation. And there's many ways to do that, of course. Great service to the community or humankind is a way to give it up by going out. Like this week, many people will spend their Thanksgiving going to a shelter and doling out food. That's a way to give it up. Or like this story of this person who came through diversity without much, as usually these stories about somebody comes through diversity, they didn't have much, but determination, tenacity, wonderment, and that whole idea that I talk about every once in a while of falling forward. So, during the 1960s, when Chinese communism was at its peak, everyone pretty much in China lived in poverty. Many still do. In a small town named Hangzhou lived a musician storyteller with his wife and 3 kids. The second child, his name was Jack. I'm not sure if that was really his name or if he has become Jack, because that's what they call him now. In 1964, he was born. Now, he was a little bit different than his siblings. He liked to read. And he was an avid reader of Mark Twain, which is very interesting because I didn't know Mark Twain was translated into Chinese, but evidently it had been. But he was eager to learn English as he grew up. So when he became of an age where he could bandy about on his own, there was tourism booming in China in the late 60s, early 70s. So this kid would get up every morning at 5 o'clock and ride his bicycle for 40 minutes to an international hotel near his hometown, obviously, and would wait there for tourists to show up. And then he would approach them with a deal. He would show them around the city and be their travel guide if they would teach him English. And neither rain nor snow or the darkness of early morning would stop this kid, Jack, from waiting outside the hotel day after day, morning after morning, year after year. One day he met an Australian family and they became friends. They really clicked and they ended up inviting him to come to Australia, where when he got there, was amazed at the standard of living in the Western world. Much different than his village where he grew up, or even that hotel where he met people. Though his English improved, because he was around English-speaking people, obviously, a lot for a while, other studies did not, especially math. He failed his primary school examinations not once, but twice. Later in middle school exams, he failed 3 times. After completing high school, he failed his university exams again 3 times. One time, he only achieved 1 out of a possible 120 points. Another time, he did a little better. He got 19 out of 120. He even applied for Harvard. Talk about tenacity. 10 times. Got rejected every time. Eventually, he was able to get into a teacher's college where he graduated and got a bachelor's degree in English. Now, so English was his thing, obviously. After college, he applied for 30 different jobs and got rejected by all of them, including a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken. 24 people applied around the same time that he was applying for a job at KFC. 23 got selected. He was the only one who didn't get hired. Later, he applied to become a police officer. 4 out of 5 people who applied for the job got selected. But Jack got rejected and told by the official, "You're no good." In 1995, he visited the United States and was introduced to the world of internet and computers. And he went searching for China on the internet. So 1995, you remember, these are early days of having a home computer. And the internet was pretty much just starting. I think there was email and you could go to, what were they called? Those news boards and stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of websites. Anyway, he searched for China on the internet. He couldn't find it anywhere on the World Wide Web. A country of 1 billion people was not even listed. I mean, there were no websites. There was no reference to it except for maybe history or the fact that that place was there. That's when he realized there's a potential business opportunity for him on the internet. He then launched a website for Chinese products with his friends called the China Page, sort of like a Yellow Pages, the business to business Yellow Pages. But it was ultimately shut down due to lack of funding. Evidently, he spent all his money putting it together, and then when it was time to get it working, they didn't have any funds. They hardly had any funds left. So, soon, businesses can take a little time to get going. Anyway, boom, closed, gone. So to cut through the chase here of this story, Jack tried to raise money from venture capitalists in Palo Alto, in the Silicon Valley, for some other computer internet kind of World Wide Web business he was thinking of. And the investors he met with expected him to present a fully developed business plan, right? You put together a business plan. This is what we're going to do. This is who's going to like this, et cetera, and this is how we're going to make this happen. But much like Bloomberg, the Google founders, and so many other successful company founders, Jack did not have a business plan. His motto was, if you plan, you lose. If you don't plan, you win. Later, he came up with an idea that revolutionized e-commerce in China. The man I'm talking about is Jack Ma. Jack Ma is the founder of Alibaba, the Chinese Amazon. He's now officially the richest man in China with an estimated net worth of $25 billion, and the first mainland Chinese entrepreneur to appear on the cover of Forbes. He speaks good English, but his math skills suck. Supposedly his computer skills are pretty bad. Jack Ma's example illustrates the willingness to be one who is open to new ideas and always ready to adapt his business model. Now, of course, he didn't come up with a business plan, but he had a business model. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew it had to do with commerce. So there was some sort of model going on, some sort of plan. It just wasn't written out in the usual way. So he felt it's important, and that's part of the point here, to be flexible. It's more important to be able to adapt your business model, to adapt what it is you've decided you want to bring into your life, or you've decided to have different in your life, to adapt to that whole idea of this or more, this or better. He said that that's more important than book knowledge in business administration, which of course he had none. In a lecture, Jack Ma said it is not necessary to study an MBA. Most MBA graduates are not useful. Unless they come back from their MBA studies and forget what they've learned at school, then they will be useful. Because schools teach knowledge, where starting business requires wisdom. Your life is a business. Wisdom, he says, is acquired through experience. Knowledge can be acquired through hard work. If you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure. So that story is telling us to not give up. When you give it up, what you want to give up is your belief in lack, is your belief in limitation, whether that limitation is because there's so much competition, quote unquote, your age, your education. Jack Ma being the, not the only one, but being the example here, or an example I've used before when I've talked about people who end up being successful, well-known, important, like Abraham Lincoln, if you remember that story. Failure after failure, business after business failures. Falls in love with a woman, she dies. falls in love with someone else, she leaves him, runs for several different state and federal political positions. Nobody wants him. But what did he do near the end of his life? You can adapt, change, or modify your dream, your idea, your intention, or your declaration, but don't give it up. Give up giving up. Unless this idea you have, unless this dream you have, unless this intention you have is not matching you anymore, is not feeding your soul anymore, well, then you can turn around and chuck it, so to speak. Give it up. Give it up. Applaud where it has gotten you. Now, this week is Thanksgiving, and so I want to talk a little bit about gratitude. So when we give it up, in this sense of giving it up, we want to applaud wherever your life has gotten to you right now. We want to appreciate where it's going to take you from this moment on. We want to give a hand for the next adventure we're going to take ourselves on, whatever that is, to the grocery store or to the top of a mountain. It matters not. We want to hail the universe for all the ways it has shown us the way, whether we caught the red flag or listened to the intuition or not. It was there available to us. Did we learn from not listening? You can learn from not listening to that just as much as you can learn from listening to the wisdom that shows up from the universe. So again, that's our connection with Thanksgiving this week, to give it up for gratitude. And I want to leave you with a quote by Joe Dispenza. I believe I quoted him last week too, actually. Joe Dispenza, if you didn't know, is I think his practice is a chiropractor, but he has changed his, he's adapted his scientific background with spirituality and successful living. And he's written several books, and he goes around and lectures and teaches here and there. And it's great books that he has written. One was called Supernatural, I believe. Joe Dispenza said this: gratitude is a powerful emotion to use for manifesting, because normally we feel gratitude after we receive something. Do I not say that every once in a while? That's very close to that's very close to what Richard Bach was talking about here. It's already arrived. When we do a spiritual mind treatment or an affirmative prayer, there's a point of the fourth step, as they call it, where you're in gratitude. Not gratitude, thank you, God, for bringing this to me, or thank you, universe. It's not that kind of gratitude, although you can have that kind of gratitude if you want. That's nice. It's gratitude because you've already decided it's showing up. It may not be here in your hand, but it's here in your hand. He continues with, so the emotional signature of gratitude means it all has already happened. When you are thankful or you feel appreciation, you are in the ultimate state to receive. When you embrace gratitude, your body, as the unconscious mind, will begin to believe it is in that future reality in the present moment. That's what I want to bring you today. Give up. Give it up. All those ideas that you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, give it up. And as you give that up, then give it up this way. Give it up this way and this way. And be thankful and sit in your gratitude, not just this week with your turkey, I was going to say turkey high. It's a turkey high at first with your tryptophan sleepiness and yeah. Gratitude is not a November thing. As I said earlier in the month, gratitude is not a third Thursday of November thing. Gratitude is an all the time thing. So give it up not being grateful every day, and give it up being grateful every day, and enjoy your thankful life so you can appreciate your joy every day, all the time. Thank you so much. Namaste.